I got like 2 freelance days. Then the next month there was like 4. Then it was 8.
Same client.
Then it was 16. Then it was, can you just stay here?
Wow.
And then I got like a 6-figure salary out of it. You got to figure out what your advantage is. Dramatically exceed expectations.
You obviously got to have the skill to do that, but if you can, over-deliver.
If you don't have the skill to do it, go get it.
That's a great tip.
I try to apply what I just said about post to production,
Oh boy.
and it does not work at all.
No. Oh my
It
God.
causes risk. It causes failure.
Yep. Every time I've been rushed in a situation, there's been mistakes and damage. Many people don't figure out loading out, loading in, and setting up. If they give me a call time of 9 o'clock and they want to roll at 9:15, I know we got a problem, right? Things could change, and they often do. Are we ready yet? Are we ready yet? Are we ready yet? That I never want to hear those words. That really upsets me.
I've done so much stupid with zeros on the end, Rich, like nothing moves the needle at all.
That's what makes the world go round, because there's TJs and there's Riches.
Exactly.
Do you even
Barely.
get up at the same time every day or no?
I get up at 4:55 a.m.
Why?
because it has a 4 in the front of it. I will work 80 hours to avoid working 40 hours.
Wow. Are you structure averse then?
You think? I'm
Right.
unemployable.
So I say that I've been in the business over 25 years.
You've been in video for over 25 years?
That's what I say. It's longer, but I don't want to say the actual amount of time. So I just say more than 25 years. How about you?
It's counterproductive after 25.
How long you been doing your job?
17 years, 18 years,
Okay.
2006.
Alrighty.
Yeah. So between the two of us, it's more than 50 years of experience.
Yeah.
So
More than 50 years experience. That's a lot. But you know what? What I found out, if you really want to get on a lot of productions, schedule a vacation. Because as soon as you schedule a vacation, that's when you get all the calls. This just happened to me like this week.
today.
I've got, a little trip for 4 days, Wednesday through Saturday.
Yep.
And I'm now on my 4th call of somebody wanting, one of those 3 days. And I've been slow like the whole week, so nothing happening. And then I have a couple days I'm going away, and it's, Rich, are you available? Rich, are you available? Rich, are you available? No.
Yeah.
It's the hardest part of freelancing, right? It's just that whole juggling act. Is, you want to be available, but you also want to have, your quality of life, right? That whole work-life balance, we sometimes chat about. I learned early on in my career, or actually I didn't learn early on, but I've learned now that it's more important to pass on jobs when you have the opportunity to do once-in-a-lifetime things. So if a best friend is getting married, or your parents are having an anniversary, or grandmother's having a special party or something, don't miss out on that for a job, to do a one-day shoot. Because we know that there'll be other shoots in your lifetime, but there probably won't be other special occasions like a wedding, like a anniversary, like a birthday. So I made the mistake in the beginning of passing on some very special life experiences with very special people just to take a $400 a day basketball job or a $300 a day grip job, just because I didn't want to miss it on a job. And I was just thinking, like, if I say no, then I'm not going to be able to work again. Well, that's not the reality. The reality is, if you're not available, you're not available, and sometimes that's a good sign, right? Sometimes, and obviously you wouldn't say, hey, I'm not available because I'm going to go, visit my mom. But you could just say I'm not available, and they maybe would suppose that, you have another job that day. So by all means, it's okay to miss out on work. The work will continue to be there. Even if you say no, they'll still get another call. Did that ever happen to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see. So I started in 2006 freelancing editing. I was 20. I was in my late 20s, right? So, yeah, it was stuff like somebody's getting married, or I feel like going. It wasn't like the kind of obligation stuff like my kids something or what
Yeah.
the kind. It wasn't. It was mostly the kind of stuff that was that I could miss,
Yeah.
and I prioritized work.
Yeah.
I think I wanted to be free more than anything. Like that's why I was drawn to it. So I actually feel a little bit different than you. I feel like on balance, I did miss some stuff and it was worth it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So you felt the work part of the job was more important than the once in a lifetime thing? And so like it's post, like it seems like there'd be some flexibility for you, right? Like, can I just, I'm going to go to have a dinner from 7 to 11 and then I'll come back and I'll finish my edit type of thing. Isn't there more flexibility with post?
Yeah. Okay. So I think it's a really good question. So in the last 17, 18 years, I've had a job about 5 of those years, something like that, or like a permanent freelance thing, like something that felt like a job.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the grass can always be a little greener. It feels
Yeah.
like coming out of the cold, having a job. But I was drawn to this profession because of the nature of the work being project based. So I think I made that bargain early
Huh.
where if it keeps me from having to get a job, like
Well, yeah.
I'll miss some stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
And I also just really love man, that's a really good question. I'm the kind of like I don't watch sports. I enjoy missing the Super Bowl every year. Like I purposely like I'll go to like Target or something because it's I don't know if anybody ever does this, but go out in town and do something when the Super Bowl is on, and it looks like an apocalypse.
You're the guy who likes to go skiing on Christmas Day, then probably.
I like to
like
or
whatever
like
you're the anti-establishment guy.
no, not ski. Working on Christmas Eve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. I would rather have a random Tuesday afternoon to do. What's today?
Today
Tuesday.
is yeah.
You were like, "Hey, I'm not booked today," and I was like, "Oh, I have a few things to do," but hey, oh no, you had a booking and it moved.
Yeah. Cancel.
Hey, I can run over. Let's do, and so here we are. Right?
Yeah.
It's 4:30 in the afternoon on a Tuesday. I will work 80 hours to avoid working 40 hours.
Wow. That is so interesting.
Now I'm 17, 18 years in or whatever.
Yeah.
And you have more. I have a feeling that you're right and I'm wrong.
Well, and everyone's got a different, work-life balance.
Yeah.
And I didn't always have this work-life balance.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first started out, years and years ago, I mean, I would have been happy to just, work 25 days straight. That would have been fine. But after, like I say, missing out on some special occasions, and I feel like that is more important now. And maybe so that just becomes an evolution, right, of your career. You start out, you want to go, 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 go. And then after you've been doing it so many years, you're like, you know what? I can miss a shoot because I'm going to go do something with my son, I can miss a shoot because, my buddy's having a big anniversary in the Caribbean, I'll miss a shoot. Yeah, it's okay.
So the trend line is pretty obvious to me. So if I was talking about being 20 something right now, I'm 45. My kids are 6 and 8 years old. I would never like work and miss one of their birthdays.
Okay.
Or like a kid Christmas, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And if you really kind of play that out like into the future where I'm, maybe like you, well, if I don't die, I think it would make sense that I would prioritize relationships and wellness, for example, not taking the 18-hour day, anything.
Yeah.
And I left my corporate job about a year ago because even that level of like structure, which is super stable for having a couple young kids or whatever, was like not going to work in the long term. I'll just kind of leave it at that.
Yeah.
But like, so that's why now I'm like, well, higher value time per dollar stuff, consulting, digital products, whatever, affiliate marketing, all this kind of other stuff. because at the end of the day, like autonomy and not having to have like a structured selling my time in
So
50 week blocks.
are you structure averse then?
You think? I can barely find.
Structure averse. Oh no.
I think it's called there's like those 5 personality traits, just like agreeableness, conscientiousness, whatever, orderliness. Yeah, I did like a personality test at a job a little while ago. It was like conceptual, analytical, structural, which is like orderliness, and social. I was 90% conceptual, analytical.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Magoo.
So if you were going to try and put your square peg,
Yeah.
you would try and put it in the round hole. You wouldn't even try and put it in the square where it's supposed to go.
I'm
right?
unemployable.
Like it's where
Yeah.
if that's where it's supposed to go, I'm not even gonna
Yeah.
try.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and put it over here.
Yeah. But
That's-
like, okay, I'll have days. You ever have a day where it's like you work 8, 10 hours and you're just, if it actually fed you and you feel like going another 4.
I've had them. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you know, it's like, because the work, this is fun work.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, I mean, video is fun.
yeah. There's
So-
definitely enjoyable parts for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's technical, it's creative, it's project based. But if I had to choose between the stability and long term whatever of a career that's a job and missing the occasional important thing,
Mm-hmm.
so I could like have that autonomy
Yeah,
and whatever, I
see,
miss the occasional thing.
I see where you're coming from. Yeah,
And sometimes I look like a zombie because I've been working.
yeah. You're definitely you don't like structure for sure.
I can
Do you
barely.
even get up at the same time every day or no?
I get up at 4:55 a.m.
Why?
because it has a 4 in the front of it. I do, yeah.
With an alarm or without an alarm?
An alarm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there that structure?
That's one of the only things I can do. I have like a coach because I did like a barter with this coach, and he really helped me. And they put all my life into all these buckets.
Mm-hmm.
I have every kind of AI task management system, synced automation calendar thing you can get. My life is personal or wellness, home, kids, play, and like work.
Mm-hmm. That's the order.
Actually, the order is the bottom is wellness,
Okay.
then home, then play, then kids, then work.
Wow. Okay.
Because if I don't have wellness, home, and play in order, as in like I'm reasonably put together, I can't take care of my kids. So what's the point?
Yeah. Wow.
So I do. So, but it all adds up to 10 pounds of stuff in an 8-pound bag.
4:50.
But I get up at 4:55 and then I go till I fall over.
So that every day that could be
Last night I went to bed at 12:30.
okay. Have you ever gone to bed at 8 a.m.? 8 p.m. I mean. No,
No,
because you have a high metabolism and you just go.
no, I just gut it out, man. I just go till the work's done. But isn't that okay? So I'll tell a quick little story. I was 27, 28 or something. I'm a year out of trade school. And somebody gave me a job cutting like MTV sizzle reels, I think it was. And he's at this guy's house. So I go over there. And I was in a job mentality, even though I was now freelancing. So I go over, he hired me for a day to cut these 3 things. And I got to the middle of the afternoon and I was like, I'm not going to finish it. And I just kind of like, I didn't.
Wait, you decided you weren't going to cut it anymore?
No, I was still going at
Yeah.
I was doing good work.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I'm not going to finish this, you know?
Yeah.
So I continued to work, but then it kind of came up toward the end of the day and I said, I got pretty far. And he comes over, he looks at me and goes, well, let me know when they're done.
Wow.
And I was like, oh. It was really, really, really great though.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I realized, like, I've always wanted that. Want the ball and want to deliver because that's all that people care about in freelance, whatever. Did you do it?
Yeah.
Can you do it? Do you have the skill?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and I just, guess what? I started editing it 3 times faster. And I was like an hour late. I left at like 6 or 7 o'clock or something that night. But
Wow.
I got them done. But like it was the lesson was like, don't pretend, don't set the expectation of not delivering. right?
Yeah.
Like if you say you're gonna deliver,
Yeah.
like you have to do it.
Is that when you realized also you were really fast?
I, that's when I began to get fast.
Because of that?
Okay, so no, so I would say when I was in trade school and they taught us, this is 2006, they said if you use the keyboard to edit, you'll be 40% faster. And no one used the keyboard.
Mm.
So I would just take a bunch of time and I would be like, I can't touch the mouse.
Really?
How am I going to do this? Because there's always a way to navigate the interface, switch a window, find a tool. Like it's harder, but you can almost always get around without touching it at all.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so I got real fast. And then I realized when I left school and the way to differentiate is either I'm really good, I'm really cheap, or I'm really fast. So I was just really fast.
Pick two.
One time I took this job in New York and I needed help. Like I had a baby on the way and I got like a freelance day and I just like smoked it. And they're like, come back tomorrow.
Wow.
I said, cool. And it was like June or something. And I got like 2 freelance days. Then the next month there was like 4. Then it was 8.
Same client.
Then it was 16. Yeah. Then it was, can you just stay here?
Wow.
And then I got like a 6-figure salary out of it.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the baby was born right then.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, but like, you got to figure out what your advantage is.
Yeah.
Like, so that was mine. Mine was going fast
Yeah.
and just never not delivering. I always deliver.
Yeah. Probably earlier than you promised even, right? Or you never gave a promised date.
Exceed expectations.
Okay. That's
Surprise and delight.
I like it.
If you say you're going to send it in 5 hours, send it in 4 hours.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or even better, just be like, they think it's going to take 2 days and send it to in 2 hours.
Well, that would be quite shocking.
At my last job, I did that where somebody needed like a render. I worked at this big industrial company where the standard was not marketplace. Hey, I need you to take the audio level down this 2 days later, you get your thing, right?
Yeah.
So somebody was like, hey, can you trim this up? Da, 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 da. I was like, yeah. And I sent it back in like 15 minutes.
Wow.
And the reason I did that, I did it extra fast.
Yeah.
Like even fast for me, I was like, and I just blasted through it
Yeah.
because everybody talked about it.
So, okay.
And then I got a job.
So that particular job, would you just bill them the 15 minutes you worked, or how do you do that? I mean, that was way beyond expectations.
So I'll steal this from Jim Rohn. Ready? You don't get paid for time. You get paid for the value you put in the time.
Okay. So the project, basically.
Okay, so if you're doing production work, production is time bound.
Yes, it is.
Like a shoot you cannot accelerate a day of production.
Right.
And you also can't move it. And
yeah. So that particular job where you were done in 15 minutes.
I was a contractor.
Okay.
So it was no incremental
Wow.
change.
Interesting.
They were paying me the day, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Post is usually the day too. But what people usually do is estimate how many days it's going to take, but you don't want to do anything flat rate because then you just get, right?
Right. It's an estimate of.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you say, I think it's going to take me 4 or 5 days, and they go, okay, and then you deliver it in 2 days, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's how I got like all my work at Remax.
Really?
Yeah. Like I got to town in here, I didn't know anybody.
So over-deliver.
I freelanced one day, and I did at least twice as much as what was expected.
Wow.
And she's like, can you come back tomorrow?
Wow.
I mean, it's not much more complicated than that. I think of it like this: dramatically exceed expectations.
That's a great tip.
I mean, in the marketplace.
Yeah. Yeah. If you obviously got to have the skill to do that, but if you can, over-deliver, right?
If you don't have the skill to do it, go get it. Go get the skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That allows you to do that.
Now, in contrast, okay, I was in Vegas. I'm working on some job. I forget. I was a shooter editor. It was for Motto Mortgage, I think. Anyway, I'm in Vegas, and there was a local contractor, camera operator.
Mm-hmm.
Similar career place you're in.
Okay.
And you know that pace at which a very seasoned camera person moves?
Yes.
it's deliberate and functional, but it's very safe. So you
Hmm.
don't get hurt, right?
Yeah.
It never hurries.
Yeah.
Never hurry. That is different than what I just said.
Yes.
Like in post, you can pull a lever and make something go twice as fast.
Yeah.
Or you can take something and turn it into multiple deliverables. There's all sorts of ways in post to mess with that,
Yeah.
with time.
Hmm.
In production, I've done this in production and I've screwed this up many times where I try to apply what I just said about post to production
Oh boy.
and it does not work at all.
No. Oh my
It
God.
causes risk, it causes failure.
Yep. Yeah. I totally agree with you. Often, if you move too fast, it's going to be the potential for something to go wrong is
Yeah.
way higher. You know, safety situations, forgetting to push a button. Um, the moving quickly is not an advantageous at all. Moving quickly, that's for sure.
Yeah. So I thought it'd be fun to contrast that because you were kind of saying like, hey, that sounds good. That sounds good. It does sound good for what I was doing.
Yeah.
Corporate industrial post-production,
Yeah.
where it's like, I need my trade show video yesterday. Can you do it?
Yeah.
And if you do it at the same price, it's almost like, so if you get paid for the value and the time, in production, you can't move the time. So that's why the market rates tend to be pretty stable.
Yeah.
And if people are reliable and easy to work with, you can work for decades.
Yeah.
But like in post, you can double the value very
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
And it's either twice as much in the same amount of time
Yeah.
or twice as fast.
Very good. Good. Good information.
I've always been bullish on post-production as like a long-term thing. And now it's asset management. Asset management is the real secret. That's a whole other video, I guess, but
Okay.
because that's where the real security and leverage of the footage lives.
Okay.
That's what we're doing right now.
It's where we're gathering assets, but we're not managing the asset, are we?
Okay, so we're gathering 3 camera, sometimes 4 camera,
Mm-hmm.
multicam, running unscripted for hours. Those assets have a ton of value, like way more than an interview, because it's extemporaneous. We just keep talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many deliverables are there?
It's a good point.
This is why it's the most popular thing on YouTube. But anyway, it's a huge asset management problem. So it's like the dark continent of opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop giving speeches for a minute.
Okay. Take a little break here. All right, taking a break.
Anything pop up for you?
But didn't I have a story? Well, I talked about.
The production pace thing is actually really fascinating to me.
Yeah.
You can see a seasoned person in how they move. It's very specific. It's like the kind of thing you can keep going for days.
Well, all I know is every time I've been rushed in a situation, there's been mistakes and damage. I was just thinking of this current situation where there was a movie being made and an actor who actually was a producer, and he was dictating a very fast pace to the point I believe he was actually telling the crew to move. And this particular film,
Like saying, like on the set, like just move,
yeah,
everyone move faster.
Move, yeah.
Okay.
I guess it was like just guys go. And it was one of those movies where there was a gun involved, and I guess, and I haven't been on a lot of films where there's guns and armors, but I have been on sets where safety is very important, and there's safety briefs and there's procedures. Well, this particular person, the producer and the talent, was pushing people to move so fast, they were neglecting some of these safety situations. And somehow a live round got put into a gun, and the DP was shot, killed. And all because moving too fast, you know? I mean, there is a a reason that you've got to move at a certain pace, and fast is always dangerous. I think every time I've had to move fast,
in production.
Yeah, in production.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time I've had to move fast, a light gets knocked over, a camera gets bumped, a tripod isn't set correctly, just somebody gets hit on the head, because you're not careful. And those are serious situations, right? A camera falls down because a tripod leg wasn't locked like it should have been in our fast reposition, repo, and you go to repo and you get the camera and you set it up. Well, you didn't tighten one of the legs. All of a sudden, it topples, or you're doing some lighting situation and you're swinging, a C-stand arm or something like that. And you hit somebody. It's not worth it,
Yeah.
Be safe.
Yeah. So full disclosure, we did not pre-produce this discussion about like you're talking. I know which film set you're talking about. I was actually an acquaintance of the woman who died.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, like we weren't like close friends, but
Wow.
we we knew each other a little bit in Los Angeles,
Unreal.
and she was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still an amazing story. And I mean, I'm not following it right now, but that night there was like 6 resignations
Oh wow.
from the camera crew, from the camera department. Were like, we are not working under these conditions.
Yeah, so I haven't been following. It sounds like you're saying you're following the trial.
Well, it's happening right now. So
Okay.
so the armorer just went to trial like 3 days ago. Today's Tuesday, maybe last Thursday or Friday. So all of this stuff is just hitting the news, and so we're now starting to find out the details, which we never really heard. Was kind of hearsay.
On a like a simpler note, I mean, obviously that's like high tragedy. Even basic production, it's not worth the risk to go fast.
Here's what I've learned after all these years is as soon as you say you feel unsafe or the situation is unsafe, the whole dynamic changes because you can't refute that someone feeling that they're unsafe or they're in an unsafe situation. So it has a lot more power now than it did probably 25 years ago. Safety is a huge concern. And so feel free. I feel free now, a lot freer now to be able to say, hey, that doesn't feel safe to me. I'm not going to put a chair on a riser that's only 3 feet by 3 feet and there's no back rail, or I'm not going to hop on the hood of a car to shoot through the windshield on my stomach, without getting tied in, I mean, sometimes you do some crazier things in the beginning of your career that are unsafe. Don't do them. Think about safety.
Yeah, I think it was a year or two ago. We were working on you and I were working on I was the producer. You were a jib operator. And I remember you paying a lot of attention to, I thought it was like, well, I don't know how to operate a jib. But it looked challenging to not have it hit the people in the audience, basically.
Yeah.
It was close, like over people's heads, but you kept, you knew how to do that. So I think experience also, like skill and experience reduces risk.
Absolutely.
And like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there were techniques to avoid, safe situations.
You kept putting it down like in the aisle.
Yeah, and one of the things I would do instead of just looking at your monitor, right, which is the move itself, I would actually look at where the camera was and not worry about the shot, right? Because I am going to kind of get close to people's heads, and so as I'm swinging, I'm designing the shot, but then I look over physically to see where my camera is, right?
Yeah, and so if somebody happened to stand up, on you'd catch it.
Yeah. So.
I have a mini story about that from Post. I think I told you this once before, but there was a guy, this is maybe 10, 15 years ago. I was picking up a workstation computer and putting it in a box or something, moving it from here to there. And I picked it up the wrong way. I like picked it up and I started to twist my body to move this very heavy thing.
Yeah.
And this guy who was about 20 years older than me, who was extremely like agreeable, would never say anything like that, goes, "Hey." And I was like, whoa, because this is why I remember it.
Mm.
Really caught my attention. He's like, "Don't ever do that again."
Wow.
And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Don't ever twist and do heavy at the same time.
Interesting.
It's not worth it, man."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay." And I was like 28 or something.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
he was right. And so I've been very careful since.
I learned something like that just in putting a tripod in my car. So I've got a Sockler, 18P. It's about 25-pound head and some lightweight sticks. So if you put the tripod in with the head in first, right? Now all of a sudden, when you go to take it out, all the weight is away from you. So the potential for you to torque your back taking it out is higher. If you were to just flip it around, right? Put in the legs first and keep the head towards you. Now when you take it out, the head is closer to your body and you can lift it out correctly. Well, I learned this by tweaking my back, right? So, I had put the legs in with the tripod head farthest away from me and, the back of my car. I go to lift it out like this. And of course, I tweak my back. Lesson learned, right? It's one of those little things that you learn after all the years in the business,
Yeah.
Just flip the tripod in with legs first, tripod head out.
When I was putting these chairs down here that we're sitting in right now,
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if they were comfortable enough for us to sit and talk for an hour. I have like a Herman Miller Aeron chair up at my desk where I edit.
Yeah.
Because like that's really important in post.
Yeah.
The sit stand desk thing is only in the last. I have one of those
Yeah.
desks that goes up and down.
Yeah.
And I have two monitors, a Mac Studio, and the speakers, and it all goes up and down. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But like to be able to do that, basically sitting in a really crappy chair all day, is also not good for you.
No.
There's lots of stuff to pay attention to.
Yeah. Well, it's the shoes, it's the chair, it's the clothing,
Or editing on a laptop.
No
not
good?
Not good for you, man.
Just too small and tight, or you just need the
main thing is so there's not enough screen real estate, and is the trackpad.
Oh yeah.
A trackpad like going like this all the time.
Yeah.
Is because it's very fine movements and like drag a little handle of a clip and go like this.
Yeah.
And I actually now we're really getting into a rabbit hole, but like maybe 15 years ago, I had a friend who had like a tablet and a pen, and I was like, "What are you doing?" Like, that's next level. I have one now, so I have like a Wacom pen.
Yeah.
And so I can hold it in my fingers while I type.
Wow.
And then also so that's even better than the mouse.
Yeah.
So the pen plus the keyboard.
Yeah.
But you have to have your eyes.
Wasn't there an edit system that was all pad based? Because I remember guys with pens just sitting like a trackpad, and they would just do stuff with the pen.
Yeah. So
what was that?
So there's like small, medium, and large ones. There's different manufacturers.
This was a high end post house. So what would that system have been called?
Probably Wacom, or that's one of the bigger ones. But I have I've had different ones, and there's some
there was no
cheaper
keypad.
brands.
I mean, I think it was just that track.
It's basically just a mouse.
Yeah. Okay.
But like when you video edit, like so there's really larger ones that are for like graphic art.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly, I think.
Yeah.
But like a medium sized one was always pretty good.
Yeah.
For editing, and I would put it under the keyboard. Now I put like a small one to the right hand side.
Okay.
But
so you
anyway,
still have access to your keyboard because you like to do keyboard strokes.
Left hand keyboard, right hand keyboard with pen and fingers.
Oh, nice.
Or sometimes just put the pen down, just use the keyboard.
Very cool.
But it's all about using the keyboard. And then keyboards, the mechanical keyboard versus the chiclet keyboard and the whole thing like that.
That's a whole nother.
That's a whole other thing, Rich. We'll get into that at some point. That's a whole other show, actually. Not even an episode. Yeah, the Apple keyboards versus like a good mechanical keyboard.
Yeah, yeah.
With the keys like.
Well, that's
yes. I just had this here. This is a DaVinci Resolve purpose-built keyboard, and this one has like a nice medium travel. This is like a $600 keyboard.
Wow.
But like it has a jog wheel.
Yeah.
And like very specific keys.
Yeah.
And it's this is probably the nicest mechanical keyboard I've ever had.
Yeah.
I feel heavy. It's like a big piece of
like
milled aluminum or something.
Nice. Very cool.
If you do think that is cool, then you're watching the right show. I should tell that story at some point about the conference room at the Marriott when you did that ridiculous troubleshooting exercise and figured out there was power going through a table and then ran a cable through a ceiling, and that blew my mind.
Yeah, and that was all based on experience. So
Right.
I think we were having an audio hum on a mic situation because we were running the cables on the floor. And I tried different mics, I tried different cables, and it was all the exact same hum. And so some way I figured out that there must have been some cabling underneath the floor. This was a telecommunications company, right? And as soon as we lifted the mic cable off of the floor, the hum went away. Hum when it was down, hum when it went away.
I was in the floor. That's
It was
right.
in the floor.
That's right. I thought it was in the table. It was in the floor.
So we had to, just kind of elevate the audio cable and run it to the hardwire mic.
Yeah, so this was a CEO announcement, kind of close hold kind of thing.
Yeah, Nick Bailey. Actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Making news again.
Yeah.
No, okay. So, but it was in a sort of like a little side room at a hotel.
Yeah.
But the real secret sauce is that I said when we were pre-producing it, I was like, "This is just like two people talking and saying hello.
Yeah.
Like it's a 5-minute
Simple.
clip.
Yep.
Hi, so and so's coming. So happy to be here. Done. Right?
Yeah.
I think I wanted to get there an hour earlier or a half an hour
Yeah.
or an hour, and you were like an hour and a half. So there was something where you tacked on like 30 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking,
why would he do that? You
Yeah.
know, this is a 10-minute job. Why do we need to be there
Yeah.
an hour early?
but you fixed the audio like 2 minutes before the guys walked in.
Yeah, because I was troubleshooting, right? So if I had to, try another mic, then I'd try another mic, then I had to try another cable.
Yeah.
Then I was getting perplexed, and maybe I unplugged some AC cords. I mean, I was just trying everything to get rid of a hum that I couldn't diagnose.
The other day I was doing a multicam thing. I didn't have enough time, and I accidentally just figured, I was like, for fun, I want to add this extra iPhone over here or whatever. And because I don't have that depth of production experience to know when it's like poker, like when to like risk return and when to hold them, when to fold them.
Uh-huh.
Like I always push the boundaries of time and try to do a little extra, and I often eat it, but still kind of deliver because I just deliver, just try to figure it out.
Yeah.
But I take too much risk without enough return. And like your wisdom basically there, like saved us, because I remember getting there and then all of a sudden it was like, wow, we're still working the audio. Wow, we're still, and then the tick tock, tick tock,
Yeah.
tick tock. And then it was like, oh my gosh, they're almost here. And then you figured it out. But anyway, the real skill wasn't it was the time.
It was. And so even to this day,
Like time.
people. So people say they give me a call time. Well, I push back on that, and I'm like, well, what time do you want to roll? Okay, so if they give me a call time of 9:00 and they want to roll at 9:15, I know we got a problem, right? Because you got to load in.
Does that happen?
Not 15 minutes. I'm exaggerating,
Okay.
but there are some way too tight from crew call time to roll.
What? Just curious. What is that? What number?
What's too tight?
Well, what would make you say, "Whoa, I need to ask a question"? Obviously, 15 minutes is a little ridiculous.
So
but-
yeah, so first of all, I have to know a little bit about the shoot, right?
Yeah,
Is it a single interview? Is it 3 people? Am I putting up 4 lights or 2 lights? Is it available light? So I have to know a little bit of the shoot first. Oh,
Speaking of lights,
lost a light there. Keep going, or
yeah, we'll add some.
okay,
We'll add some level in post over here.
okay. So I get a little information on what the shoot is, right?
Yeah.
And then I look at the logistics, right? This is a corporate environment. We have to badge in, right? So every person's got to come in.
Okay.
You got to sign something. You got to get the credentials. Somebody's got to come down. That's 15 minutes, right? I got to figure out how much stuff I'm taking out of the car and putting on a cart, because many people don't figure out loading out, loading in, and setting up, right? Those are 3 different things even before you do the shoot. And I can't tell you how many people just don't even factor that in. They're like, show up at 8:45, we'll roll at 9. Okay. So what I try and get is, what time do you want to roll? I then, evaluate the location, parking situation. Am I going to have to park in a garage and roll up, 3 flights to the office? Am I going to have to park, down the street? And then am I going to have to get credentials? Who's going to come down? All of that gobbles up time.
For a one-day shoot that doesn't have an unusual complexity, like the location or the credentials, or how much
90 minutes.
And how much, if you think that's how long
And no, so I always plan on an hour, right?
for the actual work of loading in or whatever?
No, for the basic shoot, if you're going to just say about how much time do you need to set up, right?
At least an hour.
So I'm going to say an hour. Well, it's an hour, but here's what I always say, 90 minutes. Why 90 minutes? Because I want 30 minutes extra in case something's going to go wrong.
That's what I was, because I think that's the, what do you want to call it? That's the wisdom right there.
Yeah.
So,
because I want the extra 30 minutes.
Okay. Yep.
In case we're going to change rooms, in case there's a lighting situation, in case we're going to add some talent, and then we're not running behind. So I always will, and even if they tell me, Rich, pull up to the parking garage or something at 8 o'clock, I'm there at 7:30. The worst thing that could happen when you're early is you have a cup of coffee. Okay, so you get done in the hour, you planned for an hour and a half, now you have 30 minutes, you have a cup of coffee.
So do you add 30 minutes or do you add 50%? If you think it would take 2 hours to set something up, do you go for 3?
No. No. Okay. It's usually just an extra half hour.
So 30 minutes.
30 minutes
on a day.
Beyond what they want to give you in terms of time. And that's all because, 1, things could change, and they often do. 2, you could have a technical difficulty, right? The camera will not record. Do we know why? No, but I got to take 10 or 15 minutes to figure out why it won't go to record. Or you have a light that won't fire up. Well, why won't it fire up? Well, it's going to take me time to troubleshoot why my light is not working. Or you have an audio hum or something like that. Now I need, a couple minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to troubleshoot that. And all of that is done so you're not running late. Because I really hate, more than anything else, is somebody saying to me, "Are we ready yet? Are we ready yet? Are we ready yet?" That I never want to hear those words. That really upsets me because I always want to be ready. And so in order to be ready, I want that little bit of, I call it what if time. What if we have to change locations? What if they've added some extra people to the shoot? What if I've got to set up more lights than they told me, What if they want a monitor for some other people in another room, So I'm a big planner for what if time. And go early. It can't hurt. There's a lot of people that say in the business, and this is really standard, if you do have a call time of 9 o'clock, you always want to be there 15 minutes earlier than the call time. And that's just, I think, to save yourself situations from being, running late.
So 15 minutes early to an agreed upon call time. But I think what's interesting is a lot of stuff we talk about is kind of like, well, I have to know to know. I have to check this out. I feel like you just said as a general rule of thumb, almost all the time on any shoot, you add 30 minutes.
Yep, I do. I add 30 minutes. Yep. I also add 30 minutes. Well, here's another tip. So my wife always wants to know, Rich, what time are you going to come home? So I always add 1 hour to 1.5 hours later than what my producer told me, because often we run a little bit late. But even if we run on time, we'll be done at 6. I'll be home at 7. And I'll just say I'll be home at 8. And so when I come home at 7, the actual time, you know what I hear? Oh, you're early. So my wife hasn't figured that out. Oh, crap. She may be listening to this. Yeah. So
So she never says, "Are you ready?"
No.
You ready?
So I even pad things on the coming home from work time too.
30 minutes at loading in.
Yeah.
And set up and an hour on the end.
At least 1 hour later than I think I'm going to be getting home.
Some for the producer and some for you to get home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because things that could run late, could hit traffic. And
So real quick, we just took an 8-hour day and turned it into 10.
yes. Yeah.
If you have 10 hours of billable time, it's a 10-hour day. Is it actually 12?
Yes, it is. Yep. So
that's your time. You're adding your time.
yes. Yeah. Yeah. I do a lot of things to just avoid stress, right? So being early, that's a stress avoider. It's like going to the airport a little bit early or trying to, make it to the gate when the door's closing. You have the option, you can go plenty early and sit and read the paper and get a donut or something like that, or you can cut it close and just be running down, the concourse to make your plane. You have that choice. Well, how do you want to live life, right? I don't want to run down the concourse. I want to get there early and, go get a cup of coffee, have breakfast, or something. So that's just me, But I'm sure there's people that like, I'll sleep the extra half hour and I won't worry about, the security line. And yeah, maybe there'll be traffic, maybe there won't. Well, I factor in all of these what ifs, What if there's traffic? So, what if there's a long security line,
This might be why we get along, because I am the kind of person, I don't do that.
Yeah.
I always say, I'll cut it to the minute.
Oh, yeah.
And then I miss it.
Oh, my God.
Or when I hit it like right on the dot,
Oh,
I'm like, wow, that's amazing.
gratification.
It could not have been done better. But I've always had this contempt for everything, like this basic contempt for padding things.
Oh, boy.
And it's caused me problems for years.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
this is just different strategy. Different
No,
life strategy.
it's a bad idea, is what it is, Rich. You're,
Yeah.
I'm as usual when I talk to you, I'm being spoon fed
Yeah.
how to live,
Yeah.
how to, really, you're right. And all kidding aside, like it really hasn't worked, man. Like, cause I just like to play those games with myself, cause I like to say, I wonder if I can get there,
Oh, my God.
right? And so it's a game, and
Wow.
usually my standards are too high,
Mm-hmm.
and so when I miss them, people don't really care. Because they're like, yeah, it should have taken you 2 hours. Why'd you say 25 minutes?
So, are you okay with that stress, or don't you
I think-
want to avoid it, or you thrive on it? What is up with that? I don't get it.
I think I enjoy the excitement of like feeling like I have the ball, the game's on the line. I'll manufacture stuff like
Yeah.
that just for giggles.
Yeah.
I just think it's fun. I wonder if I could cut this in 2 hours instead of 4 hours.
So it's almost like pressure, like you're putting pressure on yourself, and you thrive under pressure.
Oh, for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I want that deadline. Were you one of those guys like when you had a paper due, you did it like the Sunday night before the Monday morning it was due type of thing?
Okay, one time in college, it was like I had a huge paper due the next day. I went to the library and just downloaded like hundreds of pages of whatever and just devoured it as fast as I could and laid it out on like a room. It was like, okay, I guess my paper is going to be about, I have an idea and, get like something out of a dumb movie.
So you had last minute. You still have last minute itis now, today. Yes.
I'm sure there's a really bad reason why I thrive in pressure and chaos.
But I do have a son.
I'm kind of wired up for that.
I do have a son who is, on Sunday night doing the papers.
Yeah.
And I said, why do you wait? You had 2 full weeks, and he told me he performs better under pressure.
I used to
Could
do my
that
best.
be it too? That you perform better when you have to? Maybe that's it.
Let's make a gross generalization that this business attracts outliers a little bit.
Yeah.
People who like don't want to work in a steady job, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't care for predictable stuff. I love surprises and excitement and mystery of will it work, will it not work.
Well,
I love just failing and eating it over and over again. Really, that's
See?
probably what I'm best at now at 45. Is I've done so much stupid with zeros on the end, Rich. Like nothing moves the needle at all.
oh my God.
You have to like mess with my kids to upset me. I'm
Wow.
like, oh, I lost again.
Well,
I'm like the biggest.
that's what makes the world go round, because there's TJs and there's Riches,
Exactly.
and there's people that are combinations of the two. And there's people that lean one way and people that lean the other way.
Sensible, conscientious, steady as you go production. You know,
Mr. Last Minute, I'm going to jump over the people. Run
I
into
am
the,
kind of working on it a little bit because long-term goals are affected by that kind of stuff. I have to really kind of make
yeah,
conscientious progress
yeah,
toward longer-term stuff.
yeah,
But in general, like if sprinters and marathoners, I'm a fast twitch fiber,
yeah,
media person.
yeah.
I remember once when we were shooting something. I've had this happen multiple times with multiple people, but with you, it was like, oh, we need an exterior of some building. All the lights are all now the lights are all turned off. Whatever, it's getting cops drama in here now.
Yeah, it is.
There was this I forget, we were at something with the governor and it was outside of a cafe or something. We needed an exterior. Anyway, you went and got like 7 shots. And I just remember thinking, you know what I would do?
What? What?
Pop, like I'd do like 2, or I'd be like, I have it.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I could also see from post. I'm like, well, if I don't have it, I almost have it. I can fix it in post.
yeah,
And like one of my first mentors, I was doing a video of like a tire shop, not a tire shop, but like a tire, like an off-road company or something.
Mhm.
And there was this tire sitting on the ground. He's like, shoot 30 shots of this tire on like a DVX 100.
Oh my God.
And I remember being like, what?
Yeah,
But he was, the idea was right. But like that idea of like
yeah,
overshooting the mark on
yeah,
coverage.
yeah,
I'm always like, got it. Boom, pop. Let's get this out.
Yeah.
Let's get this thing out the door.
yeah.
So I think what you said makes most sense. It does. You got to have different types of people on teams and stuff. So
All right, let's cut. 'cause
yeah,
the
let's
light-
get, yeah.
And I do